generations, humanity being, intelligent creatures, they propose different ways of understanding the infinite that is touching upon their lives, proposing perhaps myths, philosophical systems, different ways. And our sense is that in many respects, a lot of those things have truths to them, but there are also contradictions with, myths and, there are limitations to philosophical systems and everything. Our sense is a quantum leap takes place when all of a sudden God begins to speak. And this is starting what we would view as the Judeo-Christian kind of line, where God is beginning to speak to people. God is beginning to reveal himself. It's no longer us proposing who God is and subscribing to a system of understandings. It's a sense of God beginning to speak to us,
touching
who he
us.
is. And then faith is different there. Faith is no longer just belief in God, but in light of God speaking to us, faith is an assent to the God who is revealing himself. And we see, like with the line of the Israelites, it was that sense of awakening to a God speaking to them, and little by little shaping their lives, shaping their institutions in light of the word being spoken to them. Now we would have a sense that at a certain point in time, the fullness of the word being spoken arrives with the word becoming flesh in Jesus Christ. And that's beginning this new kind of experience of faith with an incarnate word of God. That's just a general overview of the faith situation. For myself, I would have to say in terms of my own faith experience, I was raised as a Catholic. I would say I come from a reasonably devout family. They would go to church on Sundays. I went to Catholic schools for grade school and high school. But I'd have to say during my college years, a conversation with an atheist had a very significant effect on me. We were speaking about a medical moral issue, and it dawned on me we were on completely opposite sides of the issue. And I realized he was a bright guy, and we were having a very good discussion. But I came away from the discussion realizing if I were back at my Catholic high school, nobody would have been championing his position. The conversation had a big effect on me for two reasons. One, it jarred me into asking the question, well, do I really believe? Or was it simply because I grew up in the Catholic faith?
Right.
And for me, that was a significant question that would engage me for the rest of my college years. Do I believe? And it struck me that if I say I believe in an all-powerful, all-loving, all-knowing, all-present God, then it has to mean everything to me, or else I'm just kidding myself. So it was really kind of a beneficial experience, jarring me into a critical kind of assessment of my faith. And I think that's the experience of many college students, that I think they're beginning to have the tools of critical thinking in their classes, and they begin applying it to faith, and all of a sudden it becomes a little bit unsettling. Do I believe or don't I believe? Now for myself, I really felt as though once I started that process, I knew that was a central question in my life, that it had to be addressed, and I had to be honest with it. Either it was going to be belief or walking away from it.
I see.
So that was a beginning experience. The second thing was it actually shaped the course of majors for me to some extent. At the time, I was anticipating a major in the sciences, and the issue we were dealing with was the medical moral issue. And as I came away from that conversation, I thought, the scientific question would be like how to do something.
Okay.
But it seemed to me that all of a sudden I came to realize there was a very, very important question, whether we should be doing it or not.
Okay.
Which was more or less the ethical or the moral type of issue.
Not how it's done, but should we do it?
Yeah. And I was taking mostly math and science courses my freshman year, but I also had taken a constitutional law